Chief, good to see you again.
Good to
We
see you
really
guys.
appreciate these check-ins, and there are a couple of things on my list, but I was kind of intrigued at the last council meeting that you brought on board a new position, which you'll have to forgive me if I can't get it precisely right, but it's basically a criminal justice navigator, right? Is it? What is
Yeah,
a little bit about that program?
sure. It's funded through the governor's office. It's a state-funded position. The subject is a civilian, so they have no police powers. However, the position is called a protect coordinator, and what that stands for is Public Resources Organizing to End Crime Together program. And 10 different cities throughout the state of Maryland, and the governor's office will be doing, I'm sure, a more in-depth press release on this in the future. But 10 cities throughout the state with high crime, violent crime, microzones were awarded this position. And Cambridge was on that list, and we're really proud to have Lamont on board with us, Lamont Goodson. He has quite a background, military background, federal Bureau of Investigations, 21 years in the Bureau. And he has a lot to give back to Cambridge. He moved back to Cambridge to give back to the community. For the last year or better, I've known Lamont, and every time I've seen him out on the streets, his first words are, "Let me know if there's anything I can do to help," and so we're glad to have him on board and a part.
How does it work? I mean, how does somebody like him operate on a day-to-day basis?
Well, it fits in well. Community-oriented policing is what the police departments is trying so hard to navigate to, and that's part of being in the community, being the support of the community, and getting that support back from the community and working together. Mr. Goodson is going to be a big part of that. He's going to be in the high crime microzones. As you know, we opened up a substation out on the Greenwood Avenue community where we've had many shootings in the last couple of years, homicides. So he'll spend a lot of time out there taking care of nuisance issues, working with department managements, doing community functions with our community policing officers, working with the youth, the juveniles, to try to better our community and help the child that may be on the wrong path get to that point where they can make the right decisions instead of the wrong.
Yeah. Chief, you talked about community-oriented policing, and your department has been noted for its interaction with the community at large. I wonder if you could talk a little bit in this holiday season about Shop with a Cop, and also the upcoming MLK Youth Basketball Classic in January.
Yes, Shot with a Cop. We've been doing it for many years now. We updated it a little more this year to actually be able to get a few more participants in and kind of stretch it out. So we're actually doing the 12 days of Christmas. So we're going to start on December 12th, and we're going to pick a couple kids each day and their families, and we're going to take them to Walmart and let them shop for Christmas. It's always amazing to see. It's always the joy that comes over the child, but also the officers that get to go there and shop with them. And it never fails that every kid almost will buy something for their family member, whether it be their mom, their sister, their brother, their animal. So it's nice to see that a young child, with all the toys in Walmart that there are, they take time to go and shop for their family member or loved one. So that's great to see. The MLK basketball tournament, that's been going on for 17 years now, and it keeps getting better every year. And we bring and it takes volunteers and a lot of work and a lot of effort to get the children. We take them over to Easton at the YMCA, and they play a whole day of basketball tournament, a lot of recognition. So it's a great thing, good way to support the community, and the community see the interactions with the police are not supposed to be negative. They can be very positive. and help interact with our youth that's so terribly needed in today's times.
Chief, I've been following a couple of town councils on the Midshore who are looking at their zoning requirements for cannabis distribution. And we've been now in the early phases of recreational marijuana or cannabis. And I just was wondering if you've seen any change or any challenge that's come up since this new law has gone into effect.
As far as on the streets or in the neighborhood and the communities, we have not seen that much of an effect as of yet. As you know, it's early on. But what we can say is that we see a negative effect when it comes to operating vehicles and driving, because the word has to be out that, you know, it is dangerous to drive under the influence of any alcohol, but marijuana is just as dangerous. And it's very difficult for the police, the way the new laws are. Even if we smell the marijuana in the vehicle, we then have to prove the impairment of the driver, which, you know, there's drug recognition experts that are out there. However, it's not, you know, it takes a lot of training and a lot of effort. So we're almost in a catch-up phase trying to do that and making sure that we can save lives on the roadway as well.
In the past here, you've implemented some strategies to try and deal with crime on the streets. The Shot Spotter in particular was a program that got initiated. Has that proven successful, and are there more things that you feel that you need to do for effective policing?
Yes, I do think Shot Spotter is a big plus for the city of Cambridge. The number of shootings that we're having, being able to have Shot Spotter, be able to go to the scene, collect evidence, mostly shell casings, is a very important tool. We enter those into a database that gets us information on that gun that was used, that has led us back to several cases that we were able to link, whether they happened here or happened in other places. So that's a very important tool. Moving forward, community policing through environmental design. We're working with something with the Greenwood Avenue, Camellia Circle, Camellia Cornish Drive area, where it is a high crime area, to try to change the traffic pattern, to kind of keep people from driving through and walking, pedestrian traffic where we're having shootings. The new substation, putting officers out into the communities, being more seen. So all those things, we're working so hard, and also working with other, you know, nonprofits to make sure the school system, because they're having issues. You know, what happens on the street goes into the schools. What happens in the schools goes back out on the streets. So trying to keep that communication going is very important as well. So we have a lot of things to work on and move forward in the upcoming 2024 year.
You know, speaking about community policing, how do you know when you're doing a good job? What are the metrics or evaluations that make you feel like we're on the right direction?
As the chief, certainly the number one thing is the buy-in from the officers. You know, changing a police strategy, you go to the police academy and you're trained to do life-saving measures, to protect and serve your community, to learn the laws. And then when you graduate from the police academy, you come out and you have to adapt to the community you serve. Every community is a little different. And certainly Cambridge has its issues with crime, poverty issues. So teaching that officer and get the buy-in of community-oriented policing and doing community events and going to the schools and working that extra hour or two to be a part of the community and volunteering your time and investing into where you're working and living is very important. So when you see that, which we have, see the buy-in, see what the officers are taking and going on and doing on their own without having a supervisor tell them or the administration have to tell an officer to do something, it's very rewarding sitting where I am to see that. Secondly is the community support. And I can tell you from a year and a half or 12 or 14 months to now, the amount of support that I've seen and shown in the community wants change. You can see it, you can feel it. It's just putting that piece of the puzzle together and getting the community. And what the police department can't be the big ring in the circle for to make things happen. It has to start in the communities. And we're that support system in that community. And I think we're starting to see that from businesses and other places, and certainly nonprofits that are working with us to make that happen.
Yeah, I'd like to just ask a question about interdiction strategies with other jurisdictions. Sometimes we hear that there's been problems created in Easton that was actually started by somebody in Cambridge, vice versa, things of that sort. Do you have a sense that there is a stream of criminal activity of various types that intersects with Cambridge on a regular basis, whether it's connections to Baltimore or to places in Delaware? Are we known as one of the hot spots for criminal activity to come and go?
Certainly, there's definitely connections between communities from Baltimore to Easton, Salisbury, Delaware. There's absolutely connections there. Whether we're the hot spot for it or not, I certainly can say that we definitely have the crime shows certainly that we're definitely just as acceptable to it as say Salisbury, Easton. It doesn't matter. You're seeing the crime everywhere. So I do think the good part is we do well with working together. I know the Dorchester County Task Force, we had one of our officers assigned there. We work together. We try to do the interdictions, the drugs, get the information, share the information between, say, Talbot County or Wicomico County. I just met with the chief of police in Salisbury a few weeks ago. He's new, been with the Salisbury PD for over 36 years, but has just become the new chief of police. And we know that what they're dealing with in Salisbury is what I'm dealing with here in Cambridge, and some of it is the same people and the same connections, and it's just putting those pieces together that's important.
Well, I think we have to leave it there. Chief, thank you so much.